At a big show like AirVenture, we almost always shoot a lot of stuff we don't get around to publishing, and for this vlog I'm going to show you some of that footage that didn't make the cut because I'd really like you to get a good look at it. It's a remanufactured Cessna 172 being offered by Yingling Aviation called the Ascend 172. You probably know that Yingling is a veteran Cessna dealer and specialist in Wichita, and they're vertical enough to have done most of the work on this airplane right in their own shop. But before we get to the details, I want to show you something else that explains why I think we're seeing so many of these remanufacture projects. So I went back through the Gamma production numbers and Blue Book new airplane prices all the way back to 1997 when Cessna came back into the piston market. When I graphed the data, this is what it looked like. The red line on this chart tracks the cost of a new 172S adjusted for 2014 dollars. The green line shows the number of airplanes sold. As you can see, the prices have gone up, the sales have gone down. The curves appear to have crossed somewhere around 2008. It's classic supply and demand, except in most industries when demand decreases, so do prices. It doesn't seem to work that way in aviation for reasons I've never been able to explain. And by the way, I'm not picking on Cessna. These price increases apply to other manufacturers as well. But do note that when the economy tanked in 2008 and sales declined, the prices kept going up. And in case you're interested, I also graphed the Standard Consumer Price Index line, and that's represented here by the black line on the graph. During the period from 1998 to 2014, cumulative inflation in the general economy was 45%. For aircraft prices, it was more like 100%. So my theory is that two things have happened. One, the prices of new airplanes have just reached the point of inelasticity. In the absolute, potential buyers just see far less value than ever before. Second, there's a yawning gap between these two curves in a market most of us think still has latent demand for some new airplanes. And into that gap comes Yingling's remanufactured Ascend 172, some market opportunity. I spent a solid hour with this airplane at Oshkosh, and maybe the video doesn't really do it justice. It presents as new. The paint is nicely detailed, and so is the interior. I could do without the yellow color, but Yingling has other choices for people who want that. This particular Skyhawk is an N model, and those were manufactured up into the late 1970s. That's a long time ago. This is what cars looked like in 1978. They weighed 2 tons and got 18 miles to the gallon. This is what passed for high fashion in 1978, and I'm pretty sure I didn't own one of those suits because this is what I looked like in 1978. The point, other than wondering if a sense of dignity existed at all in the 1970s, is that cars and fashion have changed in the intervening 37 years. Cessna 172s haven't, or at least not that much. Yingling is betting that buyers will look at the price of new Skyhawks compared to a refurbished model and make a value judgment. And they're not the only company doing this. This is the 5th such remanufacture project to appear. There's the AOPA Reimagine 152, Redbird's Red Hawk, the Sporty's Light project, and Premier's diesel conversion. So now that the market has some choices, we can sit back and see what sells. But my guess is it's going to take a while. Let's go back to that graph for a minute. As I mentioned, the price-demand curves crossed in 2008, but it took another 5 years for the remanufactured airplane concept to appear at all, much less begin to look serious. Redbird announced the Red Hawk 2 years ago, and to date it has sold about 14 airplanes. AOPA says 10 Reimagine 152s have been ordered. Well, that's a pretty good start, but not exactly a feeding frenzy. I'd say give it another 2 years and we'll have a better sense of it. At that point, we'll be almost a decade from the 2008 downturn. You know, there are a lot of people in this industry who believe that the cost of new airplanes, or flying in general, really doesn't have that much to do with a lack of interest in general aviation. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm betting Yingling and these other companies are about to test the assumption. For AVweb, I'm Paul Bertorelli. Thanks for watching.